Yalla, yalla, infidels, we're back, and the forbidden door is open, and it's tickety time to get buck wild. Call me Butterfingers, because I diggity drops enough styles. Diggity, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Biggity Scott, I catch a rapper by his toe, infidels, and we're about to chop those toes off here and light them up, cook them up, serve them up on the Light the Fuse AEW Dynamite review. Yalla! Oh, little pig, let me in. Silvio's back. He's got some hair on his chin. So does MSG. And you know, Hacker Hamin's got the can you handlebar beard out of control. I don't even know anymore, man. There's all kinds of smells in this thing. But yeah, we're back, man. Big Sil, how's it going, dude? Looking like a Macho Man recreation reboot that I like right here. Look at him.
My butt, what a whole lot of action going on this week in wrestling.
Yeah,
a whole lot of action going out on Dynamite, and evidently a whole lot of action going down with your beard. Gentlemen with beards, we must make sure to wash them very regularly, twice a day. I'm feeling good. I got a shake. I got my crew here. And if you notice this week, I got a little bit more relaxed ambiance. With Peter Avalon. So I might even just do half of the show.
Just lay back. Well, just put your mind on your money and your money on your mind and lay back. That's all you need to do, buddy. And don't do any dives off the top rope, please. But it's good to see you for sure. And it's little Bow Wow himself, MSG, ready to rock it, ready to open the gates and say, hey, come on back to Madison Square Garden. We can have 2,000 people at a show. Ticket prices for general admission going to $1,500 each. What's going on, MSG?
Oh, I'm just chilling. Said my ninjas don't dance till we pull up our pants.
Hey.
To the rock away.
Hey.
Lean back. I'm doing great, guys. Hanging out. They're fantastic. Great Thursday afternoon here. HackerHomie.podbean.com. Yes, I'm your host of the scene where the air is clean. I'm lighting up green. Your boy, MSG. And you can check out my sponsor, the Baked Boys. Check them out, bakedboysclub.com. Use the code SuckMyBallsPod. You'll save 15%. We've actually been told a couple orders were bought last week. So we were like, hey.
Oh, awesome.
Appreciate it. Thank you guys for using the code.
Shout out Baked Boys, man. Big time making that good stuff for you so you can keep your mind right, in a time where we can easily get beat down, or CBD, products to make you feel better if you got that chronic pain. Maybe we need to send some to Cody, after this weekend, bro, to be he took the shoulder gimmick. So who knows, man? Yeah,
we've already decided that we're probably gonna work with them on doing some sort of shirt with them. Since they're already doing shirts, might as well.
Big Boys hat you got on there, or no?
No, this is a Tri-Cities hat. It's American's hat.
I know they sent you some swag and shit, man, but that's a cool hat too. I like that.
Thank you. Yeah, I got this.
Even though you got the bad bellow, fucking bend that thing. Come on, dude, bend it not like bellow. Let's get a fold in that. There's my boy. Well, we'll work on it. We'll work it in. No, yeah, for sure. Do you, Maddie? Do you? But yeah, man, it was a consistent program last night. It
wasn't like I walked away from that show going, that wasn't bad, but it wasn't good. It just felt like kind of another wrestling show. But we'll get into it.
Bad mean bad, but bad means good. And let's get into the hole. Down in a hole.
My hole.
A hole of all holes, Sil. What are you thinking about the big hole pop here on the internet?
What's so funny is this was supposed to be the grand culmination of that angle of getting thrown through a table 10 weeks in a row. Then Lana finally wins, and it's overshadowed by a large gaping hole. But it definitely was the funniest thing in wrestling to come out in quite a while. You were one of the very first people I thought of when Jenna showed me this.
I had to live tweet it. I mean, in a 3-hour show, my hole is the only thing that got over and fucking that people really got into was my hole. That was what people were talking about, my hole, and now everybody's in on it.
Could this be the start of the new Attitude Era?
No, well, here's what I think, and let me lay out the conspiracy horseman version of it for you, okay?
Uh-oh.
The whole Lana thing has been nothing but a punishment rib, even before Miro left, right, with the wedding. Then he leaves, and then it's 9 power bombs through a table, and then she wins the match standing on the outside because that's like saying you're rotten, you can't do anything, but you'll get the win, and that's them placating her. Then she gets some dumb wins that expose wrestling because it's just like to be like, all right, so we can take the heat off ourselves. Then this culmination or this callback, dude, in that match. Did you watch that match?
Of course not.
Dude, my whole thing is I almost think Nia did a good thing to take heat off of Lana. I'm sure she doesn't want to go out and have to hurt Lana. That's what they're trying to do. Dude, she gave Lana 3 jackknife choke slam power bombs, bro. Like in the middle of the ring. Yeah, man. Like one was plenty as a concussion maker, bro. 3 in a row, and all of them were fucking brutal, dude. And then Lana does whatever in the low bridge, and she goes out and does the ham hock drop and misses it. And that's when the my hole spot happens. And then she lumbers over to the fucking thing where Lana just pushes her through, which is probably the safest finish. But that finish is just to go, see, Lana won after she takes 3 fucking power bombs. She should be knocked out cold, right? She shouldn't be getting over and pushing her through a goddamn table. All of that match was put together because of the ribs that Miro got in on that wedding scene on AEW the week before. So you thought the punishment was over and they were moving on. He wants to do ribs. Go out there and powerbomb this girl. Not just powerbomb her. Gets her up, bro. Then the choke slam up high. Boom. Like, not good, dude. And nobody's talking about that because I think, she got herself over with the my whole thing, and I believe she was going to do it. And or maybe it felt really in the moment, but Hulu banned it. I heard The Office, but to me, like they caught it. I heard The Office was hot, but I'm thinking, dude, that to me seems like something she would do specifically to pop Vince McMahon. I could see Vince popping huge for that, but they're hot about it over something stupid. Meanwhile, they go away from what the internet loves and showing the character, comedy in the moment, something organic is what we want. And we barely ever build to those moments to get that. Now here we have one, and they're like, how dare you go into business for yourself and fucking say that and get over after, but now they'll rib her and they'll make money off it, but she's getting yourself over. And that's one of the worst things you can do in WWE is to go into biz, even if it's in the moment and there. And when pops people and it stands out and different and they didn't come up with it, they will hold it against you and fuck you with it, bro. In your hole.
If for some reason they don't capitalize on it, and I assume within the next couple of weeks, ProWrestlingTees.com/BenHamin, and we'll see my whole shirts. Yes, maybe I'll go right and design my hole right now and design your hole. Maybe you'll bedazzle your hole.
I could bedazzle it. Yeah, I could do all that. But yeah, dude, still, I mean, that's the whole outlook of why this even happened to get to that spot. That punishment shit. They're really trying to put a concussion on this girl. Like, dude, there's fucking no reason to do that. And then to have her, if you got the monster, and she does the King Kong ain't got shit on me line in the beginning, like she says that too, and they have to bleep out shit. Like someone's just blatantly stealing from Training Day. Like, we're not going to know where that fucking line is from. Like, really, really bad stuff, dude, and really dangerous stuff. But it's all forgotten about because my hole. I mean, everyone's thinking about my hole.
The bleeps are funny because, like, I could get on TV and I could say, Hamin, you're an asshole. But I can't say my asshole. Like, that's the line. But as far as the whole situation, man, it looked like a house show, spot show kind of thing. Like Nia was just fucking around, having a good time. I don't know if it was a slip, but she probably has done that on the road to pop the girls or something like that. And this one just happened to make TV, and everyone's going nuts about it.
I agree, but the lead into it, bro, is the bigger story that's not being talked about. Like, how and why would you schedule things to hurt your own talent possibly in a punishment? And like, dude, that's USA's money. That's their time, dude. Like, wow, it's scary. Like, I think she should really, like, one of these days we can wake up and she cuts, hopefully not a makeup promo, but like they're trying to really hurt me out here, and I'm hurt now because of what they did. And I really think it's because of this, that, and the other, dude. And have a lawyer and knuckle up for, I mean, we take bumps and unnecessary ones, but you could really build a case against them of doing that, bro, of workplace endangerment, man. Like, I just can't believe that they still continue to do it even after I can believe it. And they'll continue to do that, bro, to be honest with you. So
did you guys ever see that WWE documentary? It was like 24 or something like that. And they interviewed CJ Lana, and she was, CJ, not Lana, during the interview. And she's crying on camera, like very emotional interview, talking about her mental health and how bad things affected her when they split her and Rusev off on the road. And she's going through all these, personal problems, this turmoil. This is while the Nia stuff is building, maybe a few weeks into the table thing. And they have her on camera in this emotional state, telling this very personal stuff. Don't quote me on it, but she might have even mentioned contemplating suicide, like it was that level of personal. And they used it to air it as content on TV. And now this kind of to prove your point, you see where we've gone since then with all this. So there could be something to that. They're definitely exposing her for whatever reason.
I don't understand how these guys in the last chapters of life, losing his brother, losing Pat Patterson, saying, you only get one chance to let somebody know how you feel. Well, they're letting them know how they feel. I don't understand it, bro, that they won't stand together against that kind of stuff, that the workers were like, dude, if they told me to go out there and do that to you, like, I'm going to have a problem fucking saying yes, man. I'm going to like, what would I be to you, to go and do that? Unless you were like, Hamin, I know what you got to do. Let's do it and get it over with, and we'll fucking work around it. Like, I would not feel comfortable unless you fucking, but like, this is week 12 of this kind of shit, and in 1 week is concussion enough. And that triple fucking jackknife, bro, it's not cool with me, man. That shit. And I'm not, believe me, I'm a fucking Lana Mark and fan, even though I bought her shirt as a rib for Russo. But like, there's a line in this shit, no matter if I'm going to shit on talent for how bad or green they are, and she's beautiful and sexy and just misused, and abused, really. But still, that's telling somebody to take liberties on somebody, and that's not a good look on TV. House show, maybe you can get away with it, not on TV, man.
You want to shoot a little bit this week?
Yeah,
so
please.
One time, WWE wanted to throw me into a lake, but it wasn't a lake. It was like this small man-made reservoir. And at best, like, I went and looked at it before I said yes or no. And at best, it might have been 1 foot to 1.5 feet deep. It certainly wasn't something that's like 6 or 7 feet where you throw me in, I land in water, I can swim out, everything's good. And there was a little hill prior to that was maybe, 4 or 5 feet. So you have 4 or 5 feet, and then you have somebody 6 foot that would have thrown me. So it would have been about 11-foot drop into roughly 1 foot of water. And he would have had to throw me to clear some distance into this fucking water just for a segment. And it might have been Carino or somebody like that. And I just had to look and was like, no, that one's not going to work, but I'm down to try something else. What do you have? And we came up with a far better option. But that's the kind of, like, sometimes they don't give a fuck who the performer is. Like, yeah, let's throw this man with the family 11 feet into 1 foot of water and not think twice about it. And had I not been so experienced, if I was a guy 3 years in, I would have been like, yeah, sure, do whatever you want. And who knows what could have happened, And
it can hurt you physically, but that can be the end of your opportunity. So guys will just say yes to whatever, man, And then there's sometimes when guys do go into business for themselves a little bit where it gets over, but he didn't get signed. But Ellsworth is one who they just let him kill and then got over. I remember that kid that tagged with Colin Delaney who did the scream. Remember that when Braun fucking hucked him and he did like a big woman scream?
Oh, that's right. The hey!
Yeah. And, So that was a couple instances where I know guys got bonused and things like that because it was in the moment it popped them. Now here with down in a hole or whatever they're doing against Lana, it's all calculated, bro. There's no way it's not. So, yeah, Maddie, they were making fun of numbers on the show this week. What do we got to run down?
Well, we got a couple different things before we get started. Of course, just want to point out that we are brought to you by thebrosters.com. Visit Russo Bro's Coffee at thebrosters.com. Pick up your bag of the Brosters. What do we got here?
So you see that? No, it's package getting fucking big hucked. So I said more of this. You like that one?
Who's that large gentleman?
I don't know. Somebody in, where is it? I don't know what the Fed is, but package was getting shit kicked out of him, and I like that. VCW, whoever VCW is. What's that?
Yeah, I know where VCW is. It's in Virginia.
Okay.
Of course, check out thebrosters.com. Pick up your bag of Russo Bro coffee, guys. Use the code RussoBro5LB. You'll save about $10 off your order. Of course, visit ZordosOliveOil.com. Pick up the finest artisan olive oil. Also, check out any of our amazing brands that Hamin Media Group is managing, from the Two-Man Power Trip, to Vince Russo's brand, the Big Vito Patreon, Goldilocks, as well as the one I manage, Stevie Ray TV. Go check out patreon.com/Stevie Ray T. And there's also a brand new interview up on YouTube from December. From my research, it looks like it is the last interview with Hacksaw Butch Reed. So if you are interested, it's a free interview. It's up there. Go check it out. Stevie did with them. Probably one of my favorites.
Don't just go check it out. Go share it. Go share it and put it out there. Free high level content to honor a man whose career was unbelievable, who did thousands of shows, who should not just be in the fandom of like, oh, he was just a 80s mid card guy. Fuck that, dude. Butch Reed was awesome, and there's a lot of people who should be studying his tape, to bring back a lot of stuff and bring back those spots that he would do, and to look at the work ethic in the goddamn gym. So definitely go share that. It's all over the place. Stevie Ray TV. Matt did an excellent job promoting, editing, getting everything done. And, it's not like we were trying to capitalize off likes for it being one of his last interviews, but let's honor the man and his legacy and share it and put it out there.
Yeah, I mean, and what I was going to say was through my just, putting to the editing and whatnot on Butch Reed and going through his stuff, man, it's interesting. You can see it. Not only does Stevie Ray tell you in the interview, and he says it all the time, that Butch Reed is one of his mentors. If you go back and watch Butch Reed, you can see where Stevie Ray picked up so many different things, him and Booker T, obviously being trained by him, but you could tell that he was such a large inspiration on them. And the interview is really good. You're not going to find very many people who can put Stevie Ray in his place in a jokingly manner, from such lines as, put that on your podcast, boy. And my favorite line of, man, come over here and talk to this dickhead Texas kid. Like, so there's a lot of good one-liners on here from Butch Reed. Stuff like, that the respect how, Rip talks to you. And then you just see that even further where Stevie's mentor, how he talks to his mentor. So you get to see all the levels.
That's awesome, bro.
So it's really good. Go check it out. And it's a great interview. And it's funny. You're not going to get any other interview. There's no typical Mark questions. Tell me about your career. It's two guys who have known each other for 30 plus years, just like talking like they would in their neighborhood. It's a great episode. So highly put it over. Anyway,
a hell of a worker, man. And like Hamin said, a lot of people will get that, oh, he's an 80s mid card guy. No, he was a draw. A lot of modern fans don't really keep up with the territory, and their history is kind of like WWFE and WCW.
Right.
But Butch Reed was a hell of a draw, made a lot of money, big time main eventer, and he got the chance with Vince. And, there's a debate as to what happened, but Vince had some high hopes from what I understand for Butch Reed, and he certainly could have carried the ball. And then he also did great work with Ron Simmons in the early 90s at WCW with Doom, with Ron Simmons and Woman. They were a groundbreaking tag team. A lot of upside there. I think that was a Bill Watts call, because Watts booked Reed on top in Mid-South, where I believe Reed was one of the first to be both the top heel and top baby face in Mid-South. So a lot of history to him.
But Doom was the first ever black tag team champions ever, I believe is what it was as well. Teddy Long likes to promote that. One of the video packages I put up there. So yeah, it was fantastic stuff, guys. I mean, I spent 5-6 hours watching Butch Reed footage on Tuesday. So a lot of great stuff.
I just watched some stuff maybe a month and a half ago with him and Junkyard Dog 83, man. It was, dude, just a punch in a cell for 90 seconds to go get him. JYD be staggering.
Was it the chain match? Is it the one?
No, it wasn't that one.
Okay.
I've seen that one too many times. I was trying to find,
because he referenced that during the interview. He pulled out a picture of him and JYD during that.
They
match.
worked each other hundreds of times, bro. Like I was just looking for just some easy spots to steal in there, but there was a lot of good weeble wobble stuff on the cell. So massive influence on the industry, bro. No doubt about it, for years and years and years. And again, Stevie Ray TV has that up there, guys. It's free. It was going to be, before his passing. This was already in the can. So obviously, honored to be able to help cement that legacy one more time.
All right, well, let's talk a little pro wrestling, or I guess current pro wrestling news, that is. The first thing that came out, I think this came out actually after you went off the air on Friday Locker Room, Ben, so I'm bringing this one up, is Nick Aldis discusses the possibility of the NWA and WWE working together. So Nick Aldis said, I went on to speak with Turnbuckle Tavern and discussed them possibly working together. He said, if there comes a moment where they decide that interacting with the smaller entity for a certain amount of time or working out different things, which they have done it recently. They did it with Evolve. They did it with some of these British independents. And they did it before with ECW. This is not a new thing. So in my mind, I'm like, I'd love to see at any point, and I'm just putting this out there, I'm just getting out to the universe, but it's like when I saw them do Starrcade on the WWE Network, it kind of broke my heart a little bit. And again, because that's just the expectation I had created for it, right? But it's like, to me, the IP's still there. And if we can build up enough momentum to where they can't ignore it, and the fans want it enough, and the fans voice it enough, and they make enough noise about it, who's to say that we couldn't have a huge extravaganza at Starrcade? But the first ever time in history of the decades of sort of NWA and WWE. Historically, the two kind of powerhouse organizations, for the first time ever, they came together to promote Starrcade. It's like, you know what I mean? Things can happen. That was credit to John Pollock and Waiting from Post Wrestling. What do you think, Ben?
I like that fantasy, but I don't know that setup if I like to build it that way. I say start small because, why wouldn't they? First of all, I go, why wouldn't they bring him in? He's there's money written all over him, Magnus. You know what I mean? So whatever the heat is there, okay. And if he keeps pushing his brand and it's undeniable, that's great. What do they got? Damian Sandow over there doing the Karate Man thing, and they got a couple others. I think it would be awesome. There could be great surprises. Guys like Oni Lorcan could get over a bit. Like, I see a guy like that showing up and having a fucking 5-star banger that everybody's like, you got to see this match, where he's kind of lost in the shuffle over on NXT. There's a chance to highlight guys there with the surprise factor. And if you're really going to do it, then I think the way to go is have Adam Pearce show up and be a main event. Like, you don't know who's going to show up to face for the title, and Adam Pearce is in good shape right now. And Adam Pearce, you could even have Pat Buck show up and work a match, bro. Buck's in extreme shape, but they probably wouldn't want him to do that. But that's where you pay homage to NWA, and who's he going to fight? A former champ, and you don't know who it is, and Pearce shows up. That's interesting booking to me. Like, that's booking down for WWE, but that's being in the cut where the cool stuff is for NWA, instead of being like, let's build our brand till Starrcade, and then we get, these guys from NXT show up and yada, yada, yada. Let's really play into it at the highest levels we can to cross over, into that gray area.
Right. Silvio, what do you think about the possibility? NWA, maybe we haven't really seen there was a little bit of that NWA invasion angle, right? Back in the early 90s with Jim Cornette.
We've been there before. Early 98, they tried to do the NWA invasion where they brought Dennis Carluzzo on TV with the title. They made up a new belt. I think it was the North American Championship. They had a new belt without a champion. And they wanted to center this angle around Jeff Jarrett, who was coming back to the company. So they had this title match. Nobody knew who Dennis Coraluzza was. And then they had a 3-minute match with Jarrett and Barry Windham to put this belt on Jarrett. And the angle just didn't really work. It wasn't booked well. They threw Bart Gunn and Bob Holly together as the new Midnight, Scott Cornette in on it. I want you to weigh in on this in a moment, too. There's some debate as to where this came from. So according to Cornette, he was off of the booking team, and he has a diary to prove this. He was off the booking team at that point and got a call saying, hey, we're thinking about doing this thing about the NWA. Will you help and will you manage? Whereas Russo has said that it was Cornette's idea. Cornette's just said he made the best of what they presented to him, and it wasn't his idea. So there's a little debate on that. But back to the point of the matter, we've seen it. We've seen them do it with NWA. We've seen them do it with ECW. We got a few weeks of decent TV. Then they would just put guys in ECW against each other because they were afraid to let them work guys on the main roster. Then we saw, the invasion angle with WCW that killed mainstream wrestling in a lot of ways. So there's this old school thing in Vince's mind, and it was from that era of people where if someone comes from another company, they can't beat our guy because that means all of our guys are shit. Like the whole conspiracy about why Booker T was never champ, shit like that. And that's what they would do. They're so much lesser than in the mainstream wrestling world that like Vince would never have them be competitive with his guys. He might let them beat like Slapjack or something like that, but they won't do it to the extent that AEW is, how they're putting Gallows and Anderson over. They're putting Kenta over. Correct me if I'm wrong, Hamin, but I don't see WWE ever doing that.
I don't think they would either, but the only person they need to put over at the end of the day is Nick Aldis to bring him up. That's the only guy that needs to cross over on a WWE TV to represent his brand. What they need to do is what we did, or what we had at OVW. They send guys over there to come rock the summer's show at Six Flags and be our main event draw to help, Cena draw whatever 3,000 that show. Right?
Explain that a little bit better to the people that are
okay. So in OVW during the summer, we would do shows on the weekend at Six Flags, and the big open arena Batman stunt spectacular would become ours. And WWE had a working relationship with the developmental OVW. So they'd send Jerry Lawler to do something special, whether he was emceeing the bikini contest or whatever, or else they'd send Chris Benoit, worked Mike Cruel in the main event like 6 weeks before he went buck wild, and you know that story. Shelton Benjamin, I got sockoed by Mick Foley. So we'd always have one or two big names, like a guest host, and then somebody who could kind of work a match. Carlito, Fit Finley. Some of the names that are coming to mind, right? And that would really, and then Cena was the biggest show we ever worked. And that was July 4th. And I've told the story about how he wanted to work Insurgency, but we were way in a program with the Iron Men, Pat Buck and Rob Conway, and it was a flag match, and Danny kiboshed. I was like, dude, just let me take a fucking F you. Let me get over. But I got mine that night anyway, and Rob Conway is plenty of a big enough star for a greenhorn like me to be able to even be in the ring with. So you shut the fuck up and you shut the fuck up. But that model of kicking a guy that's a name over to our company helped huge. So they could do that with a legend on commentary, and they could do that with an NXT guy who's kind of lost in the mix. And you don't got it. You don't even have to have him go. If you had only Lorcan show up and wrestle against whoever your top wrestling guy is going to be, Eli Drake or somebody, and they pull 20 minutes, and go to a time limit draw and everybody's talking about it and it's a badass, like legit old school match. Yeah. What you're talking about, I hated in my shit because all that to me was, and I believe that Russo didn't book it because that was all Southern bullshit. That's why NWA came off as corny as shit in the 80s and 90s because of having old toothless friggin' Southerners with a piece of twine in front of them. Meanwhile, there's like big WWE spectacle. And now we got to bring all this Tennessee two-step stuff into the Northeast. That Cowboys and Indian shit that they live never gets over in the Northeast, bro. And it never has and it never will. So when Double J can come out on a horse with blinking sunglasses like it's Nashville and Dollywood, everybody in New York, Pennsylvania goes, oh my God, look at these touch holes, bro. and that works.
I would think the truth is probably somewhere in the middle there too, Silvio, right? Because I bet it was probably maybe a combination of, maybe Vince wanted to do it, but Russo had to be the one to call him. I personally would have to probably agree that I don't see Vince Russo, the staunch New Yorker guy, writing an angle about Southern wrestling in NWA. But I definitely, maybe he was the guy who called him. Maybe he was the guy who called him.
Russo said is that he and Vince were going to do this to prove to Cornette that it wouldn't work in 1998, that stuff was passe.
It was.
That sounds like it's Vince then. It sounds like it's a Vince McMahon production, and Russo did what the boss told him to do, right?
Yeah, sure. So, all that. So,
and then once that was over, we actually got the Attitude Era. So looks like it turned out for the best. But let's get into a little bit. Right, blame Jeff Jarrett. I did have some other stuff, but I don't want to hold you guys up too much, so we can just move ahead and move into some AEW news before we start off the review. AEW revealed that Cody Rhodes has suffered a slight tear of his left rotator cuff. For those who are unaware, during last night's match, it was a tag team match of the American Nightmares team, that being Cody Rhodes and the new guy, Lee Johnson, taking on, well, not the new guy, but the new guy to Dynamite, Peter Avalon and Cesar Bonini, or Bonai. I apologize. I obviously don't have the best when it comes to pronouncing names. See last week's Serpentico. But what do you think, Chris Silvio, on Cody Rhodes' rotator cuff? This is a big blow to them right now, especially considering, from a television standpoint, he could continue to go big or do AEW heels if he needed to, but this is your big star who's getting all these crossover opportunities with different media networks. And now he's not. He's going to be on the shelf. What do you think?
Got a match. Who's got a match in 3 weeks too?
Big match.
He's got a carry. Now what?
Thankfully, Cody can talk and Cody can act. So if he does have to be out of the ring for a little bit of time, he could still do business and promos and segments. So I think he'll be all right. The bigger thing is I'm not so sure that match should have been in the ring. We'll go over it as we break down the show and the match itself, which was fine. But from a booking standpoint, when I saw that advertised last week that it was going to be Cody and Lee versus Avalon and Cesar Bonini, it just seemed like this random conglomeration of wrestlers that I wasn't quite sure why we were seeing on TV. So I don't think Cody should have even been in that situation to begin with, to even risk an injury. But evidently he's hurt. I just hope it's not too bad.
And I know they're shooting
mark on that matchup, or
no, you're not. Because I don't want to shit on guys who are getting an opportunity, but I got to stooge a little bit of what I know without saying names. And this is the work of wrestling, the inside work. So it's not like it's this for a kid's first time. And I didn't know if he trained with Seidel at the Seidel dojo, so I don't want to hate him. That Cesar Bonini dude, that looks like a wrestler.
Yeah,
looks like the other guy they signed, Camarado, right? Like that we saw and got it done. Like that dude reminds me of Anthony Vane and Mason Rage, kind of. Like that's a pro wrestler. When you see him, you know it. The other kid looks like another athletic dude, but if this is your first time and you're going over after 29 losses, and I've never heard of you on the indies, not nowhere, and you're now part of the Nightmare Collective, and they get to the top of the ramp and he goes, I'm not going to be long-winded because I don't have any words to tell you. I wish I had something to say. What? You're standing there with Arn Anderson, Goldust, fucking, Cody, and everybody's putting you over. This is your moment after 29 losses. This is the Johnny Punch moment, Sil, of the losing streak turned on TV in the big moment. And this fucking guy doesn't have a 10-point promo ready to go. An A-pluser in the bag that he's rehearsed 1,000 times. The excuse is I just don't have the words. I just got to thank my coaches. Calm the fuck. I was floored by that, bro. So there's other things I know on the sly where people are moving to Hotlanta and paying $4,500 to be part of the Nightmare Collective School. And now we are at a point where you go pay $4,500 and that means you'll get on AEW Dark. So they are selling that in whatever dream. Sure, you're going to get unbelievable lessons from people. Yeah, but do we paid too large a year for ours? I don't think inflation's gone up to 4,500. This is a shake and bake work behind the scenes, and they're adding people to the Nightmare family that have probably had less than 200 matches on the indies. Like, dude, this is, here comes the carniness, bro. 3 types of people in this biz, MSG. Silvio.
From a business standpoint, I understand why it makes sense for both the wrestling school and the company. So I can't hate on him for that. The Caesar guy, from what I understand, he used to be in NXT, but they never did anything with him. And I understand he's the significant other of Tay Conti.
So here we go. I mean, not that the guy, if he made it to FCW or they recruited him, who knows? He was a halfback for Duke or something.
He was a football player.
Of course. But now she's there, Buddy Favors. And how many matches has he had? And he's on TV. I watched Cody have to tell him, Cody's on the cell with his hands down, tells him to come around to face the camera to kick him from the other side because they don't know. But on the wall, you know what it says? It says All Elite Wrestling, which means only elite wrestlers who obviously know how to work for TV and have had over 3,000 matches. And that's who works there. No, it's pay $4,500, be this person's girlfriend or boyfriend, know this person. Like, what are we doing, man? What are we doing?
29 times he went down. All he had to do was say that. I fell down 29 times. I got back up 29 times. I don't know.
That promo was an abortion, bro. It was. I was stunned at how bad that was.
Yeah, I hadn't even really thought about it more, and I went back and watched it after because you pointed out on the Friday Locker, which will be out tomorrow. But I went and watched the promo again. I was like, oh yeah, you're right. Like, why didn't he say something?
The finish wasn't more passionate. Yeah, the finish is a little fucky, but like whatever. The business, and usually I don't want this after business, is to put the spotlight on this dude with all these people around him, and they should have just had the words for him. And he gives an excuse that he doesn't have a promo, and they're all standing around him. I'm floored how that can even possibly take place, bro. I can't justify that at all.
I don't know. They should have had him run through something or scripted something for him.
Yeah,
you could tell, brother. You could tell brother is, he's learning. He's not that experienced in promos yet. So he could have used some help there.
You want to give WWE even the benefit of the doubt. Post Royal Rumble, Bianca Belair cuts a promo. I'm not the biggest fan of Bianca Belair, but hey, at least they had her cut a promo after her being emotional. She got to the top and won. That seems to be basic booking, in general.
Dude, I didn't even know. They're just like, he lost 29 times. So I'm like, whoa, he sucks shit through a straw then. You got to tell that story on TV.
Right. They didn't even do vignettes.
So what we should have done is seen his last 3 losses on AEW building to something. And if he doesn't, he loses his contract and he wins on the fucking one. Like Cody comes to help him in the tag and that. But we didn't even get condition on AEW Dynamite. We just get Shivani telling us that he sucks. He can't even beat the guys on Dark because all the guys on Dark suck and they're somebody's friend. Like, that's how it's perceived, right? And then he wins. They didn't even come close to getting this guy over, bro. Not even close.
And not to put them down further, but that's twice now. That's twice now. In 6 months, they've had two guys who've been quote unquote 0-25 on Dark, losing matches with no backstory or storyline, and then it's hyped up to us. They did it with Brandon Cutler, and then they did it with this kid.
You're
and they've
right.
given us no backstory and no indication on why we need to have some sort of emotional attachment to these characters. And that, of course, is due in part because they, as you have mentioned, book on BTE, and then everything falls onto Dynamite. But let's talk about a little bit of the numbers here before we get started here to the results. So last week's edition of AEW Dynamite had 844,000 views, which by my calculation, I believe they had, according to Willie Malacia, demolished NXT with 610,000. Shout out to Alacia, Hot Sauce Willie, Hamin Media Discussion Group. 844,000 is what they had last week. Prior to that, as I mentioned last week, they had 734,000, 854,000 on the 20th of January, and 762,000 on the 13th of January. The only real, I guess, competition was NXT. I don't think there was anything major sports going on last night, any football, basketball, baseball, anything of that nature. So it was just them.
Basketball going on right now.
That's right. Basketball is back, though.
But it doesn't matter. You add them up, there's 1.5 million people watching TV. When they're watching Raw, it was 1.7. So they're having the fall off for the C shows, and then they're bragging about it in the promo where he puts over the numbers, Gallows does or Anderson did. And I'm going, dude, you don't want to be bragging like that. Like, that looks shitty. It looks like nobody's watching wrestling at all, and that you can't even beat the developmental system. So, like, why are we out here bragging like it's something, man? I think there's way better terrorist attack shots to take than that little piddly shit, dude. That's nothing in my war book.
Okay, all right. Well, after getting into the YouTube numbers here now, I'll pull it back up here. Sorry, it was that a total of 2.4 million, so 2,419,000 views. That was up from their previous weeks of 1 million views. The average viewership was about 150,000. The least viewed video to start was the Shaq and Jade Cargill announcing they will battle Cody and Red Velvet on March. So it was that promo package with them kind of going to TNT and whatnot. That was the least viewed. That only had
Tornado Court. That was awesome.
Yeah, that only had 62,000 views. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, but online it has a lot more than that. But still, that one that went from 1 million to 2.4 million, what was that?
Oh, no, I was saying the overall was last week they had 1 million, and this week they had 2 million. So they had 1.3. This week they have 2.4. The number one video was 900,000 views, which is essentially every AEW fan. What happened when Kenta showed up? That was the big one. It was called What Went Through Your Mind When You Watched This. That's the whole title, but it was essentially Kenta's debut. That was 900,000 views. It was the number one video for them last week.
I think they're buying views from India Farms.
Well, I mean, that's about 1 million there. They got about about another 60,000 there, and I mean, averaging about 200,000 the rest of their videos. I think it's pretty normal.
I think they just want to try and make it look like Kent is over, and they're not, and they bought the.
I'm the one going through and getting the numbers and pressing plus. So I mean, unless they're fabricating that part, then like I don't like I'm.
You just buy X amount of whatever.
Right. No, I get what you're saying. I add up to the part at the end.
There's this weird thing going on. There's a weird thing going on with the ratings. Like, I mean, how you were talking about they shouldn't have been bragging over that number. Everyone's so focused now on the demos that it's so far off of how we used to view numbers and ratings. For example, UFC did a debut on network TV recently. I want to say it was with ABC, perhaps. And they gave them like a pilot to see how they would do on network TV. And that ended up getting 1.2 or 1.5 million viewers. And that told ABC, okay, we need to do some more stuff with UFC. So if you think of something like that on network TV, 1.2, 1.5 million viewers isn't shit, on one of the major 3 channels. But that told them, hey, we got something with this. So I think just the whole way that we look at ratings is changing. I agree with you. There should be a lot more fucking people watching all the shows.
Dude,
But,
the Super Bowl had the lowest rating in history. The Super Bowl had the lowest rating in history, and it had 93 million people watching. That's how bad wrestling sucks, bro.
One of my
favorite one, like if you're looking at the 750,000 to 800,000 range, that would put them. I mean, you might as well just up it to 100 million, right? For Super Bowl. Wrestling is 1% as cool as fucking football. They're drawing that much. That's how bad our sport, our entertainment has gone because of terrible leadership, because of people who aren't elite being on TV, from giving your buddies jobs and from doing punishment angles and playing God instead of respecting it all and marketing it all. They have a deal with Fox. WWE does that. They're only doing 2% of it. So it's trash, bro. I cut the promo last week. That's an embarrassment that we can't get that. And the guy who is only drawing 1% is tied directly into the NFL. So how is he not having any marketing crossover from that? That's embarrassing. I mean, I'm no chief of marketing at AEW or anything like that, but I have an idea or two how to get some things done.
Yeah. I forgot what I was going to say. Actually.
Hey, what if WrestleMania was on free TV like the Super Bowl was?
It will be.
Or we did the Super Bowl of wrestling, where we took Roman Reigns and Drew, we took Moxley and Omega, we took whoever from TNA, whoever from AAA, did this huge fucking event. So we either have Super Bowl of wrestling or we have WrestleMania live on NBC. What do you think they would do ratings-wise? You think it could be somewhere
14 million. No. 14, 15 million is where that would be.
What do you think, Matt?
Yeah, I think they'll put Mania up this year. I think part of this NBC deals, I think we're going to see WrestleMania either the first night or some sort of delay. It's going to be immediately on NBC within that week is what I think. WrestleMania is going to probably do a big number of them on a cable network this year.
I think they're just going to go right to it because their next play is for big advertising money. Right. So whatever Super Bowl's getting, and if they can draw 15%, believe me, it's a lot more than they're getting from Snickers and everybody else right now when they can charge a premium price.
Well, we're going to find out in a month because they have till March 12th to officially shut it down here in the United States. The network will still be available to those outside the United States. And if you're smart and have a VPN and you really want to pay $10, then you can see your VPN. But there you go. That's just some little bit of news there. But let's get into AEW, the event itself here. As AEW started off, I thought, with a great choice of a match here. That's the TNT Championship. That came out right away with Darby Allin and Joey Janela. And I just thought, as I was watching this matchup, as I watched it started off with some chain wrestling. And I was like, that's awesome. I'm sure a lot of people look at these guys and think that these guys are only spot monkeys. So it was a great change of pace for them to start off just by locking up. Ultimately, though, here we end up seeing the champion retain as Darby Allin walks away with his title here. Silvio, though, I'll give you you can break down more of the dynamics and the technicality here of this match.
This was a very good match, surprisingly good match. And it was Joey Janela's best match in EU so far. You're right. They started with some pretty decent technical wrestling. Then they got a little crazy with Janela doing a frontward suplex, like a gourd buster on the apron, and they got into a few high spots. But what I enjoyed about this match is they never got really crazy. They each did a tope dive, but we didn't see chairs. We didn't see, any gratuitous stunts or anything like that. They had a solid, well-paced match. Due large in part, Joey was on. I don't want to take anything away from Janela, but Darby is so good at selling and knows when to sell that the pace of the match was so smooth because Darby would do his cool Darby shit, then he'd sell for Joey for a little while. So we were able to build a nice traditional pro wrestling match flow, and you wouldn't expect that from Janela versus Darby. Looking at Janela, like these are the kind of matches he should be in. He looked great. I remember a year ago they did like that lights out match with him and Moxley when Janela was still looked at as one of the stars coming into AEW. And we see how far, he's dropped due to booking and whatever else since then. So maybe we'll see a new trend with Janela, but I thought they had a hell of a match. What do you think? I mean, is this Joey's best match?
Yeah, I think it's up there, dude. There was one or two in the early days where he would shine, where I'd see that Chris Jericho early WCW in him, and I saw it tonight. The Gourd Buster stuff, that's the indie trash that we got to cut. I mean, you got to get rid of that kind of shit out of your repertoire, because he gets it. When it comes to purist wrestling, he gets it. But then again, Darby wants those big, I look at what I can take bumps, which is also not a smart thing for him to be doing. He's over with face paint. He's got the rub from Sting. You don't need to do whatever. Now, going into this match, I kind of laid it out last week. I really would have liked to see Sting motivate Darby to get a tune-up match, you know what I mean? And Sting can go on the hunt and get it for him like Brett used to going into a pay-per-view. I think that's a good little thing that they could play out there where Darby tests himself. And then what Brett never used to do, Darby could do. He could lose that tune-up match and go into an important match with his head fucked up. Brett would almost go over and have the momentum, Right. But that'd be an interesting twist on that. So I wish we would have got into a different way, but I agree still. This was probably one of his best matches, and I still see that Lionheart Chris Jericho, one of my favorite characters, in WCW, that could really come out in him that way. So I'm kind of glad they got away from the whatever they were doing with a Sunny voice thing they were going to do in him. But yeah, this was a good way to open the show.
Yep.
Yeah, I enjoyed
the psychology was smart too. But before you go, Matt, sorry. The psychology, this was smart too. We saw Darby anchoring on the arm. He would consistently go back to work on Joey's arm, and Joey sold it well. They kind of played into it a little with the finish. I think it might have been better suited had Darby used the submission finish. But he did use the arm to set up his finish. At one point, they did a pretty wicked-looking code red off the top rope that I thought should have been it, because they ended up going home with the coffin drop later.
But he got his shit in, you know what I mean? He had to get the finish over or whatever.
Go ahead, man.
Yeah, I was just going to say I liked the match. It was surprising. Normally we do get more some high-flying tag team action type matches, or, and I expected between Darby Allin and Joey Janela to be more over the top, but it wasn't. So I thought it was a great way to start off the event. I don't know if I would say, I hate to say this is where the event peaked, but I feel like this was probably the best thing on the card, to be quite honest, last night. But let's go. I mean, as far as promos go, we went to John Moxley afterwards. Now, he was speaking outside the building, hyping up the main event for tonight, which they had quickly gone ahead and booked already, which was Kenta and Kenny Omega taking on Mox and Archer. So he talks about his upcoming IWGP US Championship match. Never really puts over the fact where you can watch it. I think he mentioned it February 26th, but he didn't mention how or where. I don't know if there may be some restrictions he couldn't say when putting over the match, but I would have liked to at least, if you're going to tell me where to watch it or who you're fighting and where do I watch the match. Other than that, great promo as he, says he's got the belt with them, says that, tonight they're in a false count anywhere, goes match. And he's going to have some fun. So that's how the promo ended. Another solid promo from Mox, just hyping up the tag team main event for the night.
Yep. A+ as always from John Moxley.
Yeah, he gets it done, man. There's no doubt about it. So he's doesn't need to, that's what WWE can't do. Let a cool guy talk. Silvio doesn't need anything. You're not going to make Silvio any cooler by what Bruce Pritchard puts in his mouth, believe me, or his hole, either one of those. So why do we keep doing these old epic 70-year-old man promos when guys like that can just freestyle? And that's what you really want. That's the James Dean shit, man, that WWE cannot capture. They have it. They had it in Finn Balor, fucked it over. Seth Rollins tries to do it. Even Aleister Black had it. No, we got to punish him. We got to have him say stupid shit. So, this is refreshing to get to see the cool guy just actually be the cool guy.
Oh man, I just dipped my cookie into some Russo Bro coffee.
Amazing. Oh, dude, really Russo Bro coffee with oatmeal cookies is my jam, bro. For sure. They don't make me happy these days, except for that.
It's really good. Anyway, moving on to the next, I guess you'd say either package or what you want to call it. It was just more of a backstage vignette interaction. We had Sammy Guevara. He kicks down the door, kicks in, but he comes into the inner circle dressing room, tells everybody except for MJF, to please leave. He'd like to speak to MJF privately. Tells Sammy, though, to keep the cameraman there, of course. They start interacting. Sammy basically tells him, look, I'm not going to play any of your bullshit anymore, right? This whole thing is done. Eventually, though, it ends up breaking down as, MJF kind of sets up Sammy Guevara in a sense, whereas he turns on his phone at the beginning of the scene to show that he is doing something and it's recording. And Sammy says that he called MJF out for, trying to take over the group and trying to drive a wedge between him and Chris Jericho. And I can't remember the exact line, but MJF records him saying a specific line, which obviously can be taken out of context. Now, that pisses Sammy off because you were recording me?
Yes, I'm trying to take over the inner circle.
Right. Yes, I'm trying to take over the inner circle was the line. Yep, that's all I needed. Thank you. And then Sammy Guevara picks up the phone after yells at him, throws it up against the wall, and then he punches him in the stomach, punches MJF, and MJF hunches over as Sammy Guevara exits the arena. Now, I had to rewind it. I actually thought he punched him in the balls. I thought that would have been better. I was like, oh, man, I was actually hoping he had punched him in the balls, but he punched him in the stomach. So go ahead, Silvio.
That's what Jenna said. She's like, he hit him in the balls?
Yeah, I thought he was punching the balls.
Good. It was a hell of a punch. Interesting storytelling, and they're building this thing. They've been building it for a while since the over jacket. And we're seeing the story continue to develop. I like that. I like consistent long-term storytelling. So if they continue doing good stuff with it, I'll keep supporting it. But yeah, cool interaction. It's the kind of stuff that makes you think, like, okay, what's going to happen now? And you look forward to watching programming in the future.
A well-acted scene. Well-acted scene by two younger talents who are really the foundation of this company. If you're going to talk about who's gotten an opportunity based on their true talent and not just being somebody's buddy, both these guys have the it factor. There's no denying that. The scene was good. I thought he punched him in the balls too at first because I was half looking. But after watching, I like the organic stuff, dude. And if you haven't watched Impact this week, it's worth it just for the Tommy Dreamer well wishes for his 50th birthday message. And Jericho and him are in that lounge in ribbon, and Jericho's like doing his Dreamer impersonation, and it's funny about how Dreamer got him all his jobs at ECW, WCW, and WWE. And I got you your job, Chris. And it's good. But then at the end, MJF in a happy way, he's like, hey, happy birthday, 50th. Can't wait to watch you die in the ring. And it pops Jericho huge. And it's just like, that's the kind of shit that I like as a fucking stinger, bro. That's how the boys really are, and the more I can get of that, the more I want. This scene wasn't bad by any means, but it's in the greater storyline arc of what they're trying to do in the wrestling world. They did it well, but I like that other shit a lot better, bro. I like the real. And they can do it. They could be doing that shit all the time. This scene could have been redone as that and maybe even been more impactful, but it was still really good.
Following that, we got our next matchup here. You guys talked about it just a little bit here at the beginning. Cody Rhodes and Lee Johnson defeating Peter Avalon and Cesar Bonini? Bonina? I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, nailed it.
A great match and a showcase for the newly signed Lee Johnson.
Yeah, you should bet her that everybody's going to be pissed if she's there and she doesn't jump on.
Well, the heels in this match targeted Cody to start off, create an injury. That's kind of the story they were trying to tell. So Johnson had to end up doing most of the work in the second part of the match. But then he got his first win. And then, as you mentioned afterwards, Tony was interviewing him, and he said, this was a paraphrase, that he didn't have the words to describe it. He just went 0-29. That was the first time I heard it, too. And I went, what? He was just looking for a win. And with the hard work of his coaches, Cody, QT, Dustin. Then he holds a second. He goes, and Brandy. I was able to finally get my first win. So the hard work pays off. But before we can talk about that in a minute, let's talk about something else. Let's talk about something a little bit more interesting. The fact that we actually got the AEW Women's Division Showcase, the tournament last night, guys, on the network. And the reason why I bring that up is because we now are being joined by the fabulous Genocide. As Jenna, what were your thoughts last night on Thunder Rosa taking on Layla Hirsch to advance to the quarterfinals of the AEW Women's World Championship Tournament? Welcome back to Light the Fuse.
Refiltered.
Welcome back.
Hi, guys.
What did you think of Thunder Rosa and legit Layla Hirsch?
I thought it was a great match to kick off the women's tournament. Sorry, I'm getting used to Chris's new setup. I feel like I'm on a casting couch or something over here. Okay, we'll cast later. But, oh, look at, he's going to let me wear the headphones so I can hear you guys. Oh, there you are. Hi.
How are you, dear?
I'll never get used to this. Never.
It's
but no,
all
I
good.
thought a competitive match to set up the first round. I mean, with both of their backgrounds, you had Thunder Rosa with her MMA background, and you have Layla with her wrestling background. So I thought it started off real well, showing both their strength, and I thought it looked like a real competitive. It could have gone either way. So I was excited that it was at least a strong one starting off.
Yeah, the only thing I didn't like out of the gate in there was that dive that Layla did. Like, she shouldn't be doing dive. She's an awesome mat wrestler. Why would a mat wrestler leave their feet to do a spot? You know, like that's for somebody else. Rosa could have tried and done that, but I don't think that match definitely didn't need a dive. But Thunder Rosa and her can go, and I like to see these types of serious shooter style wrestling matches as far as that goes. I'm looking at Thunder Rosa, do we need a love story between Darby Allin and Thunder Rosa with the half painted faces is where I'm
they
thinking
come together and become one
face for Halloween. A little half
you
love.
never know.
Become one.
Well, how are you feeling though after
wait, let's tie this all together. Okay, here we go. You have Darby and Thunder Rosa get together, and because technically they're both like half dead or half not dead, right? They have a child, and it's Su Young. She's the zombie princess,
or
right?
Abaddon,
She comes out.
Abaddon.
Abaddon too.
Abaddon.
Yeah, or Abaddon. There you go.
Abaddon could be the love spawn.
Or Holodead, who you faced this past weekend, and how are you feeling after that?
Wow, I'm still hurting. What's today?
I don't know.
I don't know. It was an amazing show, and we had such a good match. It was super competitive. The ending was a little blurry, ended with a double knockout, but it was a good time. And hopefully we get another shot out of it and a rematch.
Did she pull a knife on you or no?
No, thank God it didn't get that gangster. She pulled a chair on me, but then I got with it and pulled a chair on her back. So.
She's into knives, big time into knives. So I was worried that, you might get shanked up. But I know you've been working on those quick kicks. So if she pulled the knife, your knife goes flying. I know that's what I thought you were training for. So I'm glad you didn't get shivved.
The crowd was crazy into it. I was watching back the whole time there with them reacting to everything. They look like they just enjoyed having these two attractions in the ring at the same time, just having a fucking strong, big badass versus big badass match.
Mm-hmm.
They pulled it off really well.
Yeah, there's a lot of bad and a lot of ass in that ring. There's no doubt about that for both. Well, you had it covered, man.
Yeah, no, and I know, and especially to tie it in for Thunder Rosa coming off, she had a cage match with Allison Kay just this past weekend. And that was an insane match. So to come off that and pick up a win too, that's amazing.
Yeah. I didn't mean your match was bad. I just meant you both were hot and badasses.
I know.
I ran it back in my head. I'm like, that might not have played the way I wanted it to.
You played it out the same way in my mind. I liked it. I like the fact that AEW showcased the women's tournament this time because they went through the whole thing last time with the tag teams, right? And they didn't give us any idea who these women were. So I do like the fact that they built up, they announced all the competitors prior, and it looks like hopefully every week the matches are going to be on Dynamite. I mean, unless they show some maybe of the other foreign international stars we don't know on Dark, but I still would like to see those people on those.
I think they're going to show the some of the Japanese matches and just on YouTube.
Yeah, those are actually being filmed in Japan.
I might put this out here in the ethosphere, and it's just a little dream booking. So I'm not sure if you can hear me or not, but Big George, obviously, who trains with Rip. He trained with us at OVW for a while, and then he was at Santino's. He does like the hardcore Russian gimmick. What if the guy's shredded in his late 40s. He works out like a maniac, and he does as much as I do the Hamin, he does it for the Russian stereotype. What if he showed up as her uncle and they went into like serious training with Layla Hirsch, and Big George is just her manager, but he looks like a brick shit house at the same time, man. I think that could really work to set her out apart from everybody else.
Oh yeah, she needs some character, so that would be a good way to do it.
I'm gonna reach out to Big George. I was just having that idea,
like Rocky IV style.
Yeah,
exactly. And it's like Drago's daughter, kind of, but she's just a fire plug little badass wrestler, and she should not be diving. She's gonna get hurt. No. Like that. The way her body is, it's I'm not trying to shame by any means, but it's not meant to stretch out and fly. It's meant to be low center of gravity, doing cannonball type things if you're doing anything in rolls, So I don't want to see her get hurt. That's why Big E shouldn't be diving either, and hopefully he doesn't anymore. What else do you like on the show, Jenna?
No, overall, there was, like you said, she did the dive, and I was hoping she wasn't going to do the second one, but she had turned it into like a cutoff spot with a misdirection into something to get her back down. So I was glad they flipped it around. I thought the transitions from her missing the moonsault looked good. I think it went into a sleeper from that. Sorry, I don't have all the details in my memory. I was working out while I was watching. So it fires me up, so I have it on in the background. But other than that, the finish was her sit down McNusher driver. Try to say that fast, but overall, no. I thought it showcased their styles, both like smaller but competitive, and have a background in fighting and wrestling. So I like that showcased and set it up for the next match, which she'll be facing the winner for, I think it's Serena and Riho. So either way, she's gonna have another good match after that. So excited to see it come.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can pronounce Michinoku driver, but I can't pronounce Bonini. So there you go.
I could do it. I just can't say it.
You don't need to say
it. Right, that's fine.
Go ahead.
I agree with you on the dive too. I mean, when I was watching this match, that was the only thing to me that seemed out of place. Because Layla is so good at like the catch style of wrestling, the holds, the transitions. Thunder Rosa is a hell of a pro wrestler, but she's also MMA trained. So they could have had just this barn burner, all holds and grapples and, some ground and pound. And with the dive, it was out of place. It didn't need to be there. Somebody told me this a long time ago. So little coaching lesson for our listeners out there. If there's a move or moves that other people do, and they do it very well and better than you, don't do it. Do what you do best that the divers or whomever can't do. The other people there can't do the shoot wrestling that Layla can do. So she needs to amplify that to the moon and make that her thing. Add some new submissions, but that's her gimmick. She's the one that's a badass amateur. Let everyone else fly. She doesn't need to do a dive. And I'm pro dive, don't get me wrong. Dive, repeat. But she doesn't have to do another dive her whole career. And if she's going to moonsault, Layla, honey, get some knee pads.
Yeah, for sure.
Would it make more sense from a match perspective if somebody is going to dive? There would be like Thunder Rosa diving, but then Layla catches her out on the outside, right? And then does something like a catch wrestling move or something like that.
Sure. But Rosa should have, if one of them was going to dive, it should have been Rosa.
And not really should she do it, because Layla's so short that Rosa's going to have to dive down, and it's going to be more velocity. If anything, Rosa teases the dive because we know she can do it, and Layla runs in and gives her the who got uppercut and fucking cuts her off in the middle of the ropes. So we incite the violence, and it stops her right there. Layla can then come up while Rosa sells away and take her down with an ankle pick from behind or whatever you want to do. It doesn't have to be pretty.
Chief over here.
Right.
I mean,
I know, right? Hamin's been watching my matches and cutoffs with people doing dives. European upper.
Yeah, who got uppercut? Higer.
Yep, you got it. No thanks.
Like I'm not going to take the chance of locking my knee and blowing it out when we can do the same spot and be way safer and save that for somebody else. Like, F it. Let's do the threat of violence always. It's the same as doing the move. It's already been inferred. It's already in the psychology.
I don't know if you guys noticed this last night, but I certainly did. Every match had that tope. I remember once watching a show in England, and by match 9, the first 8 matches had already done the suicide dive. And I just watched the pop diminish after the second or third time they seen it. Something else in AEW, every match did that. So yet another point of Layla doing something else. Every other match was doing it. So
what does that tell you? That's a bigger thing. What's a bigger thing that tell you? And then Jen, I'm going to come back and get you heat. You're going to have heat after this, but like, not the good kind either. What does that tell you?
Well, that just means that backstage, like they're not going over like move sets and I would say big moves like that and making each match different.
Yeah, you're not watching the show on a monitor. You're not knowing that, oh, these guys are in the main, they're going to need it. No one's a cohesive unit in trying to help everybody else shine by doing what they do best. If everybody's just doing that, nobody's paying attention to everybody else's match. And Sil stooged you off so I'll put heat on him. I'll pass the heat. When we were off air last time, that you have the same issue that I do, where in the booking of they step on their own business after every match, where instead of giving the pin in that glory moment, we got to run out and do something right on the heels of it. And you get one time to do that a show. They're doing it 4 and 5 segments after the pin, this new business, right? And nothing means nothing. You know, there's no
it's not going to help build the hero characters that they need if you keep doing that. Give someone a moment and build that story instead of putting them all together and doing certain tag matches. Yes, sometimes that's cool, but again, they need to build bigger hero characters for more of a following and a base, and then do like the craziness. But like sometimes it makes my head hurt. I have ADD. It's a lot to like put all together sometimes with storylines. And I'm a wrestler, so imagine if someone's like just a fan trying to figure it out.
And as a wrestler, you're not worrying about the pin being the big moment because heat's coming afterwards. Where pin is the end of the concert. It's the big symphony where everybody hits the final note together and it means something. And then if you do an encore right on top of that, your whole symphony doesn't give your audience that, oh, we were in it and it paid off feeling. That's what a pin should be. So if you step on it, then you just killed all that build that we were getting to, So don't be afraid to say those types of things, because you're right when you say them. I get it. You want to get hired and get a job so you can put the heat on me. I'll pass it on to Sil, and then you go and do your thing and kick ass all over the world. You're all we got left. We live vicariously.
We got to put Thunder Rosa.
Yeah.
I'm sorry in that case.
We got to put Thunder Rosa over too for taking that big ass top rope Hurricane Rana from fucking Layla.
Oh yes, you're right. Definitely for someone, he's smaller, like me and other girls, bottom heavy. So good job basing for that. Even I'm bigger, catching bottom heavy sometime in a herc. It's not the nicest thing.
No, all that was great. I thought that this match and the Joey Janela opener were my 2 favorite matches on the card.
Well, I do have a couple more matches here to get into.
I bet you never thought you would say that. Did you tell him I was so impressed by Joey's performance as actually like a wrestler? Like that was the biggest shock of the night. Not so gimmicky, and it was really good.
I agree. I agree. He did well. He doesn't need to jump off and do dumb shit. And why does he do that if he can do the other? If he knows how to work, why do all that other dumb shit?
Well, following
before we review the show, Jenna, you got another appearance coming up in Texas, in 2 weeks?
Yep, 2 weeks. It is first time I'll be debuting there. It's at Hurricane Pro, Ladies Night Out. It'll be streaming on Title Match Network. I don't know who my match is against just yet, but maybe I could reveal next week. Could be a big one.
Well, I'm going to tell you one thing right now. Whoever it is, protect your hole, okay? Just protect the hole. And you're going to come out on top if you protect your hole.
Never when I've like hurt myself or landed have I thought to scream out my hole.
You know what you should do, Jenna, since it's going to be next weekend, is do something to your outfit. Put something that says like put something that's crossing the hole. I don't know, or like you're protecting your hole. Like that should be everybody should be trying to protect their holes now.
Heat on the don't let them get heat on the hole. If they
I'm not even gonna get there. But hey, you know what? She got herself some eyeballs from saying that. Might have not been her work, but saying my holes sure got something. A little trending on Twitter, whatever,
No, nobody got hurt from her bumping on her own hole, and we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, we had
her hole shake brings all the girls to the
yard.
You
had a whole discussion on a hole.
Grab a hole, Sil.
All right, Lee Johnson, Cody.
Sorry.
Caesar
Bonini, thank you for finally correcting me. Caesar Bonini in this match. Yeah, as you guys already talked about most of it, but ultimately here, Lee got the victory, and then he had that post-match speech. Jenna, what did you think? Were you a little disappointed at all? He mentioned 29 wins, but then he didn't have anything prepared. I mean, I think you feel like that's something we might have something prepared for. You finally, win your match.
Match with Cody. I don't know if you caught.
I don't know if I caught that. I just remember him thanking the Rhodes family, and then he forgot everyone except QT that was standing like right behind him.
That was it. That was his promo. I mean, but they kicked to him by saying, or he started off by saying, "I don't have anything prepared for this, so I'm going to keep it short."
Oh.
And I think the complaint from Ben today was, "Well, what do you mean? You just lost 29 times. Like, why don't you have anything prepared? Like shouldn't this be your moment?"
Yeah, no, I think he had a little something probably scripted there, and thanking the Rhodes family for giving him a shot, which, that's who helped him get a spot on Dynamite, was doing all the work on Dark. So no, I thought it was fine. I don't know a lot about him, so I thought it was okay. I wouldn't have put that match together for a Dynamite episode right away without learning more, I guess, about each person. It felt like more like that should have been on Dark versus Dynamite, because you don't know anything about these people yet, and they're not establishing characters. Again, hero characters is what's going to build your following. I don't know who these people are yet.
They should have had a whole tournament to get the opportunity to get the match on Dark, and then you show a package for 2 minutes billboarding that, the week before, to get those guys ready, where they're like, I'm pumped, I'm getting my shot on Dynamite. This has been I've been in the business really hoping to get this opportunity, and because we did it on Dark, now we're going to get here and get to the getting to know you little intros that UFC does. How hard is it to knock those off and get those on the week before? It's not hard at all, and shave 2 minutes off of matches that are going too long. Definitely.
And they could have shot, if he is training with all of the guys there at the Nightmare Factory, their B-roll content right there to shoot. What is he doing with all them? How hard is he working?
I was just about to say that, Jenna. How is somebody paying $4,500 to a trainer? Nobody's taking B-roll. In the event that they get big, you have the process of their humble beginning to stardom. Like, where was that?
I know. They could have set it up better.
Behind the next Forbidden Door. That's Forbidden Door number 2. You get that. I took Forbidden Door number 3.
One thing you guys, aside from Forbidden Doors, one thing you guys forgot. We saw Lee Johnson debut on Dynamite months and months ago in an enhancement match. And I remember taking a while to put him over because he just got, his butt kicked for the most part, but I saw something in him. I was like, this guy's got a lot of potential. He moved well. He bumped well. Like, there was something to him. Fast forward a few months later, they announced quietly he's now in the Nightmare family. He was a student at QT school. So that's the origins of it. But since that announcement months ago that he was on the Nightmare family, been featured at all on Dynamite or really with anything with Cody or the, over members of the team. So he was just an underneath guy that nobody really knew about. So when we just put him on TV and try to make it a big moment, there wasn't a build to it. It could have been something as simple as I say this all the time, let an underneath guy win sometimes. He could have had a singles match last week with anyone on the normal roster, pulled out a big win. Yay, Cody comes out to celebrate. You did it, and then we could do the match this week, but we have something to it because we saw Lee get this surprising win. Can he continue his winning ways? Blah, blah, blah. So,
you need to see the loss. If we're doing that, he's on the streak, the Johnny Punch angle, right? You would have brought him up, had him lose, show the frustration, cuts the promo. If I don't win next week, I'm quitting wrestling. I don't deserve to be here. I'm not elite, and I need to go back to the drawing board. Cody comes out and says, I see something, cuts the promo you just did. I see something in you. And, brother, I'm telling you right now, we're winning next week because you're going to be my tag partner. Lifts his spirits up, and then the dudes who were kicking his ass in dark are going to be their opponents. They should have built that heat, and then we go over. But you got to condition the audience on the main show that he's on a losing streak before you give him you just can't give him the win out of nowhere and tell him he lost 29 times because then he's just the guy who sucked shit.
I mean, your guys' points.
What about a pro wrestler sells tickets?
To who? There's nobody in the stands, so nobody's able to sell tickets.
Just in the general sense.
Good look. What? Then I'd Lumpy Magoo be the most over guy on the show.
Character, right?
Who's Lumpy Magoo?
Whoa.
Character, right? We just put a little character and backstory to Lee, and it becomes a lot more interesting.
100%, bro. Yeah, but that was just only done on commentary by Excalibur, which is a miss, bro.
And one thing that wrestling itself, I feel like, seems to have gotten away from is just the simplicity of recap and highlight packages. Something that I really liked when I was a wrestling fan as a kid was they were constantly telling you what happened last week or the last time these two guys locked up. So that way you had, even as a brand new viewer, if you turned on AEW last night for the first time and you didn't know who Johnson was, I don't care if he lost 29 times.
Bro, that's Al Snow 101, what you're saying right there. Absolutely 100%. Al that's how Al writes his shows. That's how we were taught, that if you got to write it for the greater overarch, but you got to tell parts of the story again in case it's a first-time viewer that's tuning in. You got to make it that simple, but you can still play to the height of your intelligence when you do the business. You just got to set it up for the new viewer as well.
One thing I also liked about that, too, is it shortens the television matches. So that way, when you do have those big time long matches on the pay-per-views, they meant something because you were craving to see these two beat it out as long as they could. And then when it ended, you'd be like, oh, man, that match is over. Now it's like, oh, I just saw these guys wrestle for 60 minutes. I'm pretty tired. This is a good match.
There's an opportunity for the epic in there, too, because in those recaps, you get the music, you get the cuts, you get the highlights, you get the best of. So if you don't do that kind of shit, now you're trying to only get to a halfway feeling is about as high as you can get them, because we need all that epic production to really amp up the drama of wrestling. If it's not in there, it's only up to the guys in the ring and on commentary to get it over.
I mean, I will say though, Cujo,
Go ahead, so.
Go ahead, Matt.
I was just going to say to Cujo here in the chat room, WWE does play packages to kill time, but they do great packages. That Roman Reigns package they did for his last match against Kevin Owens, that got me psyched just watching that match. I knew nothing about the build. So they do a really good job of building their package. But go ahead, Silvio. I'm sorry.
There you go. Yeah, they got a great production team. No, to your point, I mean, that is how things should be written for the wider audience, for the vast audience. I'm of the belief, and I've done it every match to this day. Every time I go out to perform, I go out as if the crowd has never seen me before. If you can always do that as a performer, it covers all areas. If there's new viewers that day that don't know who you are, you're introducing yourself, and everyone that already knows who you are, you're just strengthening that bond you have with the audience. So I think that's not only true for the writing of a show, but for the individual performances too. It might have been Al Snow who gave me that. Picked that up years ago. go out every match like they've never seen you before.
I get that, especially for you and what you have to do. But for me, that doesn't apply at all, because they have seen me before. My name was Osama bin Laden. My name was whoever you want, like whoever your terrorist of the month is, like that's who I am, the vicarious payoff for all of the PTSD of 9/11. That's what I am. So I understand your point is 100% right for a wrestler, but the gimmick that I am is something completely different. When the flag comes
Immediate
through,
heat.
yeah,
Immediate.
you see the ISIS flag before you see me. The story's already there.
The secret needs to come out that you're really nice. Like you come out there booing, you're doing that whole thing. Then you cut a warm promo.
Yeah, just I love you all. And like I could do that and they'd still hate me.
All right, we got a couple matches here. We got a couple matches here and a couple backstage segments left here. So first off was what you might consider an enhancement match with Ryan Nemeth being defeated by Pac. Pac beat him down pretty much for the whole match and then got the win with the Black Arrow and the Brutalizer. But good to see Ryan Nemeth continuing to get used here.
Wow. Botch's Nemeth's name too. Strong style out here. He's just trying to fucking botch everybody's name. That's
that
his
one was to get you. That one was to get you.
No, it wasn't. You fucked up.
No, I know how to pronounce Ryan Nemeth. I know who Dolph Ziggler is. His brother. Go ahead. What do you think, Silvio?
Serpentico. No,
that one I didn't know how to pronounce. I'll take the heat on that one.
Pac is crazy intense, and Ryan did a great job selling. He sold Rip Rogers style. He was where he needed to be. He made Pac look like $1 million, and everything that Ryan did looked good. So it worked, and that's what should have happened. If Pac's a top guy, Ryan's an underneath guy for right now. He did good business. And they put Ryan over Marco Stunt on Dark, so perhaps they want to at least keep him around long to give him work. So hopefully that means they'll get more of Ryan, who, as we discussed in great detail last week, is not only good because he can perform in the ring, but he has such a great mind for writing and comedy. He can be very, very valuable to AEW.
Ooh, I got a match for Dark. Him versus Matt Seidel's brother. Let the brothers hash it out.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that would be damn good. Yeah, that's an interesting little angle right there. I do kind of like that. This was Rip Rogers selling. I was pumped, especially even on the outside the way he was. And we put Ryan over as we will, because we got the same foundation, and when we see it, we respond to it. There's no doubt. But I got to talk to you about the finish here, so. And a lot of this stuff, I think, was like an homage to Ziggler versus what did they call him in WWE? Neville. Instead of Pac now, because there's a lot from that match. The big suplex neck sell and all that was like the reverse of when he did it to Neville and Ziggler was over with it. So there was some real tips of the hats in here that go deep for those guys. But he's dead on his stomach in the corner, knocked out. And then he goes up to hit an impact splash, his big flipping finish, and he's still dead selling. And then he goes into this cross and comes alive instantly to tap out. That didn't sit well with me in the way of it all. If you're doing a splash, do it on the guy's stomach, not on the back, on his spine to start with. I don't think that is a safe way to do anything. So he should have been on his stomach from the cell, which usually would get set up from a slam where you're like, oh, or you've taken something like a Michinoku driver and he drags you into the corner while you're on your back, goes up, hits it, boom, that's the finish. If you can also win with your submission, why would you hit a guy with the kitchen sink and then hit him with the sub later unless it's a real fuck you, which these guys don't have that kind of heat. So he's already knocked out and comes back to life after getting hit again. That doesn't make sense to me in the psychology of it. But there and again, Nemeth's going to do what he's told, shut the fuck up. And if that's what they want from the guy who's over, you go out there, you lay on your stomach, you get hit, and then you go into the submission, even though it's like, not really, didn't make sense to me. What do you think, Sil?
maybe the pain jolted him back to life like electricity.
Classic pain jolts.
Hogan when he hooks up. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, if you want it, like that's a little nitpicky, but I know how you roll. So
I want him to hit a home run, dude, instead of a double.
To meet you halfway. I mean, here's what could have happened. He hits the splash. He puts him in the hook, and Ryan's still out. The referee waves it off. TKO. He's knocked out.
Yes, I agree. That I'm perfectly fine with that. Guys don't get knocked out in UFC and have their head over to the side and then get hit with another hammer fist and go, hey, what happened? You stay to knock the fuck out, and then they come and put you on the chair while you're shitting your pants, drooling on yourself. Like that's what the finish is, dude. So why come back to life to tap out just to get it over, to get the crazy face? He could have done that next week. Tap him out next week. Beat him clean this week. Next week, tap him out.
Not only that, he was tapping for a good 60 seconds with the ref not noticing for a little bit.
And ref was out of position, and he tapped early too. See, Jenna, you can get your own heat. I don't got to put it on you.
She's actually becoming somewhat of a student of Hamin, unfortunately. Hey, Ben, do you want the real stooge on that Nemeth Pac submission spot?
Do I?
All right. So what happened was, you couldn't see it off camera after the Red Arrow splash.
Yeah.
Doc Sampson, the ringside doc, quickly had injected B12 into Nemeth's buttock.
Got him.
And that caused that flurry of energy for him to try to fight out of the hole.
Did he do it via blowgun? He hit him from across the ring with a blowgun in the ass, and he fucking came back.
That wasn't in the text that I saw from the source.
Wasn't in the text, the B12 text.
It didn't hit his hole.
Well played, Jenna. Well played. Yeah, man. But aside from that, you know, I got to be critical, even if it's a dude we respect and we like their styles, bro. That finish was fucky, and the psychology took away from how good it could have been in a keep it simple, stupid kind of way. That flipping Red Arrow dive, whatever you call it, is awesome. Win with it. That's enough. Okay. Save the other thing for when you got to really get heat on somebody.
We're moving on to another backstage segment here.
Hey, you're live on the sexiest AEW Dynamite review show. It's the Vince Russo. How's it going, bro? How you seeing things?
What is going on? I am seeing things through one eye, Ben Hoffman.
It's one eye, so you got your one eye open. It's like they got your favorite wrestler, Darby Allin, his face is half painted.
Well, I heard big. What show are we on right now? I got a big AEW rumor.
Yeah,
are we on a live show?
You're on AEW.
We are live.
Fused with MSG, the Chris Silvio, and the lovely Genocide as well.
Bro, a little birdie told me earlier today that the Hoodlum, the AEW World Champion himself, was spotted at DDP Yoga today, bro.
Ooh, the Hoodlum was over there.
Yes, sorry, bro. The Hoodlum was alive and dangerous, bro.
Well, I mean, even after getting dragged last night behind a truck and everything.
Is that what happened? I don't watch the show. I just can't wait to see the 1.7 million people that Tenta is going to pull in. I can't wait till the number comes in, bro.
I heard he's going to tag with Bad Bunny in the weekend, and it's going to be a 5-star frog spectacular. So,
bro, we did catch during the March last night. If you listen to Meltzer, Penta on his own is going to pull in 1 million viewers yesterday, bro, on his own.
I'm sure he will. I mean, it looks great. With a Japanese guy with pink hair is always a big draw in America. Everybody knows that. You got a new show. You got a new show coming to Russo Brand Official, though. Breaking Khan, or what is it? Better Call Khan. You're
Yeah, Better Call Khan, bro. Bro, this is gonna be different from any other podcast, and I'll tell you why. Because this just came to me last night. Bro, a great baseball analyst just passed away, bro. Pedro Gonzalez. Well, I think Pedro Gonzalez. He was 58 years old, bro. Okay, bro. Pedro, when Bonds was going for the home run record, Pedro followed Bonds every game, everywhere Bonds went. So it was like Pedro was covering Bonds 24/7. Okay. So Better Call Khan is not going to be your typical once a week, 30-minute podcast. Bro, anytime, those gems that we have so learned to love that come out of Tony Khan's mouth, every time there's a gem, bro, it's going to be like breaking news. Like, and I'm going to go live immediately. Bro, it could be like 5 times a day.
Wow.
Anytime Tony Khan is passing along his words of wisdom, I am going to stop everything and do a podcast and take apart those words to make sure that everybody's understanding the full meaning.
So you're going to be helping with the learning tree. You're going to be like a remedial teacher to help us decipher what's going on with Khan at all times. We're going to know where he is. We're going to keep track of him. Almost like Where's Waldo at this point.
Yeah, but I'm going to be the unforbidden door. So anybody's allowed in. Everybody can come in. It's unforbidden.
Okay.
And I'm going to be on this news every day, looking for the scrums, looking for what he said on the Jericho show.
Right.
Yeah, all of it, bro. All of it.
I cannot wait. Is there something pressing you need me for right now? I'll jump off and happily.
No, I just want. Let me just say this. I mean, if it's on here, because you worked on this, bro. I'm sitting here and I'm watching I got a little sneak peek of Angelina Love and Velvet Sky, the beautiful podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, I've got to tell you, Ben, I don't know what you did. I cannot believe the video and audio quality of this podcast. I don't think I have ever seen a podcast this crystal clear and this awesome sounding, and I've done a freaking million of them. And that's why I was calling you, bro. I was calling you to tell you you did an absolute unbelievable job with them on this podcast, bro.
I appreciate that. I mean, I'm the opposite of the beautiful people. I'm representing the ugly people, and we're behind the scenes doing everything we can because they are going to be such an awesome addition to the brand, man. I want to make sure everything looks great, so I put it through Adobe Premiere and tried to make sure it was at the highest resolutions I could get it at without making it bad to download or watch. So, it's a fine line to walk, but they're easy to look at, so the camera picks them up real nice.
Yeah, no, bro, you did a great job. And that's why I was calling. I just wanted to tell you that I watched it and I thought it was great. I buzzed them, but thank you very, very much, bro.
Not a problem. Stevie and I wanted to meet with you tomorrow if you got time. So just hit us up in the email and we'll set something up.
Yeah, well, I got Billy in the morning, but then after that, I should be good to go.
Okay, sounds good, man. Well, you're on the sexiest AEW podcast, possibly the number one. No, there isn't
the
one.
Number one. The number one.
Yes, you could be the new number one, bro. The new number one on the block, bro.
Well, you rest your eyes, man. But if any con news comes across the wire in the next, anytime.
I'm the guy, bro. When anybody gets any con news, it's got to be reported to me. If I want to know when the guy's taking a dump, bro.
Okay, we're on it. We are on it. We're gonna.
All right.
Give me a call if you need me to shove down the street.
Yeah, if you need the roof shoveled, Matt's ready to come over and handle it.
I'm ready to do it.
All right, I take care, you guys.
Later, pal.
Bye.
Couple things. First of all, heat on Jeff. Haha, he's gonna have to edit all those daily updates.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just thought that cracked me up. Anyway, there was some good stuff there. Yes, guys.
Go ahead.
We're tracking poops now. And I guess that was Vince Russo's concession speech, finally, all these months later.
Yeah, man. Are you going to subscribe to the new Better Call Khan still? You need all the updates, man.
I won't be subscribing to that. I think I sit on another side of the fence with Khan than our friend Russo does. But there we go. There you have it.
I know you're a good boy.
All right, let's wrap up this review here. A couple things we still have to go over. Let's go over the Sting segment first, since you guys talked about it there briefly with Vince Russo. So we had Tony Schiavone introduce Sting to come out to the ring. Before Sting could even really start talking, though, the Taz crew, Team Taz, showed up on the Titantron, started cutting a promo, and then it led to them revealing that they had Darby Allin now tied up in a body bag. They hitched him to the back of Taz's truck, and they took off. And they dragged Darby along the way as Sting made his way toward the back, and that's the last we saw of him for the night. What did you think of this, Silvio? Did you like them putting Darby Allin in a compromising situation like this?
No, but I'm sure Darby liked it. He likes doing all that shit. That's a Russo angle, tarketing back to the big boss man breaking up Big Show's dad's funeral and carrying the casket away, dragging it away, and Big Show jumping on the casket. So that's a little Russo inspired angle.
Thank you, Canada Spaceman. I agree. I do not sound anything like Jeff Lane. Ben, what did you think in regards to this? Did you like it?
Well, it was the first thing. Well, it popped me in a couple ways because the Taz popping up, and now Taz is just pumped about kidnapping and dragging people, and it's just another day at the office. Him and Tully Blanchard kidnapping Marco Stunt. We're just doing kidnappings now. And
as we know, Taz usually doesn't follow through with the kidnapping. We don't ever know what happened with Samoa Joe. So
that's true.
We don't know what's going to happen.
But they did do the Big Show drag, and I thought this was a good stunt piece for Darby. That's what they want to do with the Jackass stuff. Why not incorporate it a little bit? But then it's during Sting's promo that this is happening, and Sting's like, "Oh boy," and they're like, "Sting, he's going out. He's on a tear after him." And Sting's like walking slow out of the thing. Sting don't give a fuck that Darby Allin's getting dragged behind a truck, like he's gonna run out there with the bat. Where are they? And catch him. Sting's like, like step 2, Sting was like, fuck it, I can't get him. They already dragged him out of the parking lot. What am I gonna do?
They didn't show Sting looking for him or anything after that.
Oh, dude, Sting knows that Darby's dead. I mean, he's watched fucking National Lampoon's Vacation. They saw what happened to the grandma's dog getting dragged by the family truckster. That's all that's left of Darby at this point. Sting was like, hey, I tried. I took 2 steps, and that was enough.
He didn't even get to talk before he could even speak.
Hey, but big up to him. They didn't have the snow shooter in the shot this time.
That's true.
I mean, good job.
All right, so we go on to the tag team match of the night with Chris Jericho and MJF taking on the Acclaimed. There was some good ribs in the Acclaimed's intro rap. They even ribbed on MJF for singing "You Are My Sunshine" when he was a kid, which that was you'd have to actually know that, like, I've watched that video or seen him on a TV show to do that. So I thought that was a good rib. And it even got reaction from MJF himself. So great introduction. And then the bell rang and the match was good. Obviously, there was some great competition between the two teams. However, ultimately in this match, Chris Jericho and MJF won. That's kind of the build these guys are on right now, as Jericho got the pin with the Judas effect after tons of outside interference from the Inner Circle. However, the story came afterwards as Sammy Guevara came to the ring, said that a long time ago he told everyone and Chris that if one more thing happened between him and MJF, that he was done for good. Jericho tried to ask him what happened, so what he meant by that. Sammy shook his head and announced that he was done with the Inner Circle and he quit. So, to start with you, Mr. Silvio, what did you think of the match? And I guess the breakaway now, the Sammy babyface turn.
What I liked about the match is that we saw 2 heels cheating behind the referee's back. I don't remember the last time I saw that. They were doing the simple abdominal stretch spot that Hamin and myself have probably done hundreds of times.
Mm-hmm.
And Aubrey catches him, kicks the hand. So I thought it was cool. They were actually
gotta stop right there, bro. I mean, that spot was botched. Like, we got to talk about Aubrey Edwards, dude. We really have to. She's. You
didn't like her doing the kick?
The kick was way off. Like, you don't stand there, look at the arms, and then throw a karate kick into the guy. You turn the corner, go, whoa, kick your leg up to break it. She stops, looks at, makes it a spot of her own, and then it's mistimed and it's not how it should be in the Hebner way that it really is done. Then multiple times after that, right after that, somebody takes a hip toss. She grabs her hip and starts selling. Oh, and people are taking, oh, dude, she needs to be stopped. Like if I was Jericho, I would grab her by the wrist and, well, maybe pull in a room with somebody else so there's no hearsay, but that shit needs to end. She is abysmal in the ring at doing this stuff. If she wants to sell, then go be a wrestler, because as a referee, your job is to add to the match, be sight unseen, be there on the spot when you need to be, not going into business for yourself, selling body parts, dude. It is brutal to watch.
I would also like to point out the recent clip was unearthed over the last week during Daniel Bryan's retirement speech in Seattle. Which I was at that show, not as good seats, and I didn't cry. But there was a clip up front of Aubrey Edwards like crying, not her as a child, mind you, or a teenager. This is her as an adult, second or third row, bawling her eyes out. Now you might make that okay. Well, maybe she was a plant at that point or something like that. But this was 9 years ago, so I don't know if Aubrey Edwards had that much pull yet or had that type of job yet. So I think it was she went to the show, probably started crying because she.
Dude, everybody in the chat's burying her as being a mark.
I don't want to bury her. I'm just saying she definitely has a knack for wanting attention. What I was going to get to.
Yeah, that's fine. But if you're in the ring with Chris fucking Jericho, you don't, in MJF, you don't pull focus from them. And if nobody's telling her, if she's that much of a wrestling fan and has watched all this and knows it all and doesn't know that she shouldn't be selling body parts, then she shouldn't be in our business, let alone in our ring, bro. Like that it's so embarrassingly bad. It's embarrassingly bad, and it needs to end now.
I mean, sometimes I don't understand how you notice these things. Like,
go watch it, bro.
The kick spot, yes, because it's a huge spot she's involved in. I'm sure everybody recognized that. But you are so critical of this woman. I didn't even notice any of the other things you're talking about.
How are you not? If you,
I'm watching Jericho. I'm not watching the ref.
No, if I gave you a hip toss and you fucking land it and take that bump, and it hurts for real, like a hip toss will, and you're on the cell, she's already beaten you to the cell. You got your back turned. She's over there going like this. And I don't know, as a coach, how you're missing this, Sil. Go watch that match, bro. I cannot believe maybe it's because I helped train sideburns, referee sideburns, that I watch refs a little more. But dude, there's no quarter here of like Hamin's being too critical, bro. You got to go back and watch that shit because it will drive you nuts. If you took the bump and somebody beat you to the cell, how are you going to feel in the back still in the locker room?
It just depends on who sold it better. Like if she oversold it,
it's such an oversell.
I was going to say, to Ben's credit, Silvio, there are multiple times where she does very over-the-top facial reactions and exasperations. Whoa,
like everything is whoa, and that's not the ref's job. The ref doesn't have emotion. The wrestlers bring the emotion. The refs have to be there for the timing on the things, dude. She's a total mark for herself and is going into business for herself every match, and to do it with Chris Jericho in the ring.
I also think it stands out more with no fans there, because with less fans there, she does draw more of that reactionary response for the camera versus going to the crowd shots and stuff like that too. So I think she's definitely become more of a little bit more of the microscope since the COVID started.
It makes her an affirmative action hire because she can't do the job even at the basic level that 50 other men who should have that fucking job that would have made that match better could do it, because we have to have first woman this, first woman that, and put that over for their SJWs. Now we got somebody in a position who should be elite, who is not elite, who is amateur.
Let's put this to bed. You're on Dynamite. You lock me into the camel clutch.
Mm-hmm.
How do you want Aubrey to sell
it? Do you give up? Do you give up? Do you give up? He gives up. Ring the bell. Ring the bell. Not. Oh my God, he's got him in the hold. What are you doing? Are you gonna give up here? Like that's how she would do it, bro. She would sell the fear and pain of you back to you while asking if you're gonna give up. She will oversell your fucking I tap.
What if she just sold her neck a little bit? Like, do you give up?
No. Why would she? Why is her neck hurting? She should
it's osmosis. Wrestling.
She's an empath. Like if they established her as an empath, would that be okay? Would you be okay with it then?
No,
if she had character?
I'd be okay with her never being on TV again. That's what I'd be okay with.
All right. Well,
you're out of line. I mean, you're out of line.
She's got thousands of matches ahead of her before she's even close to TV ready to understand.
This is the kangaroo court.
Nah, dude.
Well, I agree. Let's move on to something positive, Silvio. What do you think about the baby face turn from Sammy Guevara essentially here?
I saw it coming. It's good storytelling. You know, you can kind of anticipate what happens, and it does. I thought they were going to jump him out, though. I was very surprised that they didn't.
Yeah, I would have liked that. I kept waiting for the beatdown too. I was like, "Oh, here it comes! Here comes the beatdown." LAX is going to be like, "Sorry, bro, we got to do what we got to do," and they didn't do it.
Smash him. If you ask Hamin about it, he'll tell you that Aubrey called the audible and told him not to beat him up.
That probably. She's like, "Nah, let him go, guys. Let him go."
What if Aubrey was the one that put the boots to Sammy?
On the way out, on the hot chow one more time, she fucking tunes up the super kick as he's walking out of the fucking gate. I'm sure
they jump her into the inner circle, and that's the big swerve. Jericho's been talking about her. Now she's in the center circle.
Mm-hmm. Dude, so bad. Why wouldn't you jump them out? Especially you got LAX gang members there, bro. That's their fucking gimmick.
I didn't get it.
Sangre por sangre, blood in, blood out. And if not that, beat the shit out of them. Who wasn't there? Who wasn't there in the interseason this week? Huh?
Was it Wardlow? I don't know.
Hager wasn't there.
Hager was there.
Was he? That was
quiet.
Okay, well then I didn't know because I would have had the gang violence and had Hager in the back because I didn't even see him in my mind. I've already forgotten it. And then you think that Sammy's going to get out and he fast to face Wardlow and Hager in the back and they fucking beat the shit out of him. You could have had a super jump out. You know what I mean? Like a gauntlet jump out if you wanted to. And then while he's walking out of the gate at the end, Aubrey, super kick out of nowhere.
Hell yeah. And
hell yeah, dog.
I'll fuck you. You know what I mean?
And she could sell his pain after she does the super kick.
Yeah, then she'll lay down next to him and go, oh, and sell her jaw.
No, she's gonna sell during the kick. Whoa! You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Takes his back.
Sammy's got an ass whooping coming to him. I just don't know why they didn't do it this week. Next week.
Why we missed it? We missed it. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how that tape stuff from earlier gets chopped up in some way.
Well, two more backstage things here before we get to the main event. We had the commercial break after that. It was Guevara was spotted leaving the building. It was just a quick thing. Said he needed to get some space from this place and figure out where to go from here. And that was it. So he quickly left. And then there was also the Kenny Omega on the golf course segment, which I think I've been waiting all day to hear Ben Hamin's thoughts on this.
Genocide story going off in my ears.
So Kenny Omega's on the golf course. He's about to chip out of the bunker, and Alex Marvez pops up on the golf course. Didn't have a mic, but just apparently just showed up there. Again. So and wants to get in word with Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega, of course, berates him. You're always following me around. Talks about how great he is. Takes his chip shot. Continues the interview. In the background, you can see Don Callis and the caddy faintly messing with the ball. If you look real closely, because I knew that was coming. And eventually, you find out that Kenny Omega chipped it in. I like that they went on location somewhere for this. It was nice. They did a lot of good on location, like not in the ring stuff with the Darby being drug, this spot here. And then in the main event, when we get into that here during the DQ, I thought there was a lot of good outside of the ring shenanigans happening here. What did you think, Ben, of the golf course Omega? Do you want to play golf with Kenny Omega in Sideburns?
Absolutely. I want to go play golf all the time. You don't have to ask me anytime I want to.
Oh, okay.
instead of what I'm doing. I know I heard Kenny is a good golfer, like a real good, which here's the thing. Kenny's supposed to be the top guy, right? And he's supposed to be awesome. And I get this is a comedy scene, but why top guys shouldn't be doing waka waka comedy like that, bro? Especially if the Kenta shit is red hot. And then even Marvez like, can I get a ride back? Like that. This is all Cyrus that waka waka shit that I was telling you about, where they imitate wrestling and they think it's cute instead of putting him over as strong. Even the first thing makes Kenny look weak. Where's Kenny hitting the ball from?
To a sand trap.
That means he sucks at golf.
Right.
I mean, anyone can hit in the trap, but you're automatically putting a guy who's supposed to be your top athlete in a position where he looks shitty. Sand means you fucked up. You don't want to be hitting from sand traps. Then he fucking hits, chips out. It goes up and over the green. And in the background, it's funny. It's cute in the blur. You see the caddy and fucking Cyrus like kick the fucking ball. And then Cyrus goes and puts one in the hole. And then another birdie, champ. And it's just supposed to be like smug Kenny. We want Kenny the cleaner, the badass motherfucker, Chris Benoit, can't be beaten motherfucker, but now we got to get these little, juvenile sketches in just to be all filler and no killer to really put him at a top level of where he should be. If you're going to do it with Kenny Omega, you do the Michael Jordan thing where he hits the ball, it goes up in the air, not even from
about to say that,
and it goes straight down in, and he's like, and he blows the fucking like the gun on his on the end of his club. That's the Mr. Perfect looking awesome shit that you steal from and pay tribute to, especially if we're coming up on the day of Mr. Perfect's passing. Was it on that as well in the same week? Do the Mr. Perfect spot. Don't do the asshole rib on wrestling spot that makes you look now like a comedy act. And they wonder why these guys don't get over to where they need them to. They're gonna put it out there. They're not building heroes. That this was an opportunity for him to be a hero, and it looks stupid. But
to your point there, Ben, though, like, and I was going to even say that as well in regard, like, it seemed to me, and maybe this is, I'm just assuming whoever edited this, whoever shot this, nobody watched golf, because golf is this would have been the easiest sport to manipulate with the camera tricks.
With the camera trick, yes,
yeah. And so it like that to me tells me that whoever edited this and shot this, they just didn't watch regular golf. They just filmed it and went with the comedy thing there. But as far as the promo, Silvio, what did you like what Kenny Omega had to say here as far as putting himself over? The forbidden door is open.
I like Omega's direction. I liked him on the golf course. But I agree it should have been the Mr. Perfect angle. That's what I was expecting. Kenny to just do an awesome shot. We know as the viewer that it's edited, but it doesn't matter. He should have just sank a sweet shot, said something cool, Kenny Omega like, and left. But I was okay with it. I would have rather have seen him actually make the shot than doing the comedy thing, but it was all good.
I mean, how cool would it have been if he had hit that chip shot? You see the ball coming into the hole. Kenny comes up, picks the ball out of the hole, looks down and goes, "Good night." Bang. And then it goes to black or something like that. That would have been a lot more cool. At least I would have played in with his catchphrase. Right. And then
this is them ribbing in the back, Cyrus being a handler for him and pulling the wool over Kenny's eyes. Another eagle. Like, dude, this is where these guys are way out of touch.
Cujo even points out this was 2 days later. Why didn't he walk up and go, good, they fell in my hole, and like pick the ball out or something? Why didn't he play on the word my hole? Like something.
On, bro.
That would be good too.
Standards and practices.
Oh, well, it's just the whole. They say a lot more things worse. So I need to watch some of these movies on TNT. Let's go on to last thing here, last backstage segment before we get to the main event. Matt Hardy, quick little segment here he had with Hangman Page. It's revealed that Matt Hardy and Hangman Page had a post-bar celebration after the tag team match. Matt Hardy got Hangman drunk, and Hangman Page apparently signed some sort of contract. So apparently Hangman Page, which we'll find out next week, is probably going to be part of some sort of Matt Hardy brand management. Do you like them moving forward with this pairing, Silvio?
So there was some kind of fuckery going on when Matt handed him the documents. Matt turned to say something cute to the camera, and Hangman shuffled around the papers oddly like he was up to something. before he signed it. So what I'm thinking they're going to do is he somehow flipped it on Hardy, and now Hardy's going to have to pay Hangman 30% of his earnings. That's where I think
that would be pretty good. That would be pretty good. Any last thing there, Ben?
Yeah, I don't mind the bar scenes, but the alcoholic thing is a tough thing to get out of, because you got to have them go to rehab to sober up, and when people are dying in our business from a lot of abuse stuff, you're walking a line right there every time you're shooting a scene with him with 6 empty glasses and whiskey and everybody putting it down and putting it over. If something happens, not going to be a good look. You're playing with fire right there. I do like the alcohol stuff, don't get me wrong, but you got to do it in a smart way, because you could be setting yourself up for a whole host of issues. But Matt Hardy's awesome, no doubt about it. With all this recruitment of Adam Page, whether it's Hardy or the Dark Order, you're not getting max value. He should be being built as a hero unto himself. These little stupid comedy interactions are only delaying where he needs to be. He should be a much higher stakes player right now than he is.
Blame it on the alcohol. Anyway, let's get into the main event here. Kenny Omega and Kenta, who's apparently, according to Vince Russo, we just heard, he reported that Dave Meltzer says he's going to bring in 1 million views.
A million. For next week, we got to be at 1.8 million? 1.8.
I'm just sitting here hoping that we get the numbers while we're talking. But this, of course, was Kenny Omega and Kenta versus Jon Moxley and Lance Archer in a Falls Count Anywhere match. A little interesting that they I know that they, based on what happened, Lance Archer was kind of there, but it's just interesting that he's now kind of thrust into this feud here, if you will, as he's now Mox's partner here. This was a hardcore match, Falls Count Anywhere match, weapons. We saw them brawling in the kitchen, which I got really nostalgia for, like SmackDown Here Comes the Pain. Like I had flashbacks there as a kid of playing with my character in the little kitchen setting. So that was cool. I liked seeing that. But ultimately here, it should come as no surprise to anyone. Kenny Omega and Kenta did pick up the victory, as the Good Brothers interfered at the end. They got involved, dropped Archer with the Magic Killer, and then they helped Omega, hoisted him up for the One-Winged Angel, and they got the 1, 2, 3. So they assisted Kenny Omega in this victory. And that's how the match ended. What do you think, Silvio, of this tag team match? Were you excited to see Kenta in AEW?
I was excited when he showed up last week. I won't use the word excited to see him in this match, but the match was exciting. It was wild action, went all over. They literally potatoed each other. At one point, Archer.
What do you think of that? What do you think about doing that comedy in this type of shit, bro?
At one point, Archer grabbed a box of potatoes and potatoed Kenta with it, which hurts. I was the chef, and I know how fucking heavy a box of potatoes are. That shit hurts. Hamin, I thought of you early in this. There was a strong style spot with Moxley and Kenta where they were inviting each other to forearm, and I go, man, Hamin's going to love this spot. Did you love it?
Oh, it was my favorite, bro. It's my favorite. Kenta's not going to draw flies to shit, bro. He's not going to draw one more viewer. Maybe some New Japan heads who might watch it on YouTube, but that's it. They're saying he's not going to change the dial one bit, and they can take all the credit they want, like it's going to get over. But how long till this guy gets hurt again? I mean, that was his whole WWE career. Do you think he's going to be in better shape now or worse? So maybe he needs tag matches already just to prolong it, to get it over. Plus, he's carrying knockoff Money in the Bank thing. Looks like welfare wrestling compared to WWE. Like that's a stupid thing to bring out there. Something we don't care about. Some IWGP mid-level title. No one cares. It's dumb. And the fact that you're putting that over there,
you don't say it's dumb. You don't even.
It's dumb.
It is dumb. It's no.
I mean, the case is not put together well. It's definitely a very bland case.
It looks like a piece of shit. It looks like something some little kid made backstage in an art
New York thing you said all day. It looks like a piece of shit.
Yeah, yeah, it's terrible, bro. And I'm supposed to be into a Japanese guy with purple hair, like as a man. There's somebody walking around with a pink briefcase or whatever it is, half orange, with some construction paper on the outside, with pink hair, Am I supposed to believe that's a badass, bro? Am I really supposed to believe that?
You watch Dragon Ball Z? I don't think so.
No, because I'm a man. No, I don't watch little kids stupid shit where men watch little.
You just watched a whole lot of versus Nia Jax feud, and
because I get paid to. I get paid to do that. If you want to pay me to watch these little dumb anime cartoons with Charizard or Pikachu or whatever the fuck, dude, like, pay me, I'll watch it, and I'll tell you how fucking stupid it is and how much you wasted your life. And I'll
not a podcast I want to listen to.
Yeah, dude. So this guy isn't going to draw anything. He'll probably get hurt. This match is a cover, and we're doing strong style stuff for who? For Jargo, and maybe about 20 other people, bro. It's bad. This match was forgettable, and the heroes and big suspense that we should have in these crossovers was completely missed. So Joey Janela was better than this match. The girls that nobody knows were better than this match, and these are supposed to be the top guys. There's your problem.
Some other highlights of this match: we saw Kenny Omega getting choke slammed through Peter Avalon's heart-shaped bed. We saw
it was weird, by the way, that was out there still during that match.
Doing that kind of stuff kills whatever Kenta's supposed to be as a new draw. When you do those types of spots, you just took the shine off him. He had 6 months or 6 weeks to like really be showcased before, like he's the new toy. When you do those types of things, we're done. He's as average and as stupid and as indie as everybody else right now. He might as well go join the Dark Order next week.
Now you're just throwing unnecessary shots. How Kenta goes to stupid and indie. That is an unnecessary correlation.
When you're going through the fucking bed spots and Peter Avalon,
go through the bed.
Well, when you're in a match that has that in there, we're doing fucking waka waka. It's not cool. It's not the shine of making this guy look like a top property.
Maybe they just wanted to show them that you could do this at home. Because he got a bed there, Let
yeah,
kids.
Good stuff. Go get a fucking suitcase and get some construction paper and Gorilla Glue and glue it on the outside of your mom's suitcase.
And you can wrestle on the mattress. Exactly.
That. Make your own.
Kenta needs a mouthpiece. He needs somebody that's going to be able to talk for him to help him get over if they're trying to sell him as a top guy. The more interesting news of all this, which we don't have time to get into, but it'll play out, is the budding relationship with New Japan. Are we going to get the Tanahashis and the Okadas? Where's this thing going to go? So I think Kenta is the first piece of that puzzle.
It'll be awesome when they don't draw either. And everybody thought they were great and they don't change the fucking, they
draw.
They
still are great. It's just, what's popular in Japan isn't always what's popular in the States. Okada can pack 60,000 in the Tokyo Dome. Doesn't mean he could do it at the LA Forum.
That means I can pack 60,000 in the Tokyo Dome too.
Maybe. You might be able to, yeah.
I know I could. Yeah,
you probably could.
But it's people like the greatest of all time. No, like that's just all they got is fucking 78 guys who do the same, stand across from each other and fucking trade elbows like idiots. So that don't impress me much.
Goodness.
All right. Well, that being said, guys, that's it for another edition of your AEW recap here on Light the Fuse. Of course, you can like, share, subscribe to this show because we are the #1 AEW wrestling review show and the #1 wrestling review show is voted on by you, the listener here at Hamin Media Group. So continue to share, let all your friends and family know about Lighting the Fuse. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Matthew_Schaffer. Each and every week, I also host Suck My Balls, a South Park review, which is up right now. Episode number 62, 4th grade, is available for download everywhere. You can also check out a brand new episode of New Force Order, episode number 99, which will be out a little bit later this evening. They had like 30 clips. So I got a lot of work here. I got to edit in. So that'll be out a little bit later. Brand new episode of Triple D Star Trek podcast. Him and John Enright, the Academy, is now up with guest Stevie Richards. So he didn't show up for the Friday Locker Room because he had more important things to do with Star Trek. So go check out and listen to that podcast, apparently, Ben. He no showed for you, but he showed up for D. D must have paid him.
He had a little surgery this morning, a little surgical procedure. Oh. So I had forgotten about it. So heat's on me. I forgot that he wasn't going to be available.
Little payday action. I figured D just paid him,
All right.
But that's it, guys. I don't have anything else for you here. Matthew Schaffer, each and every week I come to you as your 2020 producer of the year. Still waiting for my trophy, but thank you.
I got to mail him. Oh, shit.
And I'm Chris Silvio, and overall, I've got to disagree with my two esteemed colleagues here. I enjoyed this episode of Dynamite. I watched it while working out, and my attention was kept curtain to curtain. So I thought it was a solid show overall. Some wackiness, some fun, and some good wrestling. And I'm glad I got to ruffle Hamin's feathers a little bit for your very eyes and your listening pleasure. But yeah, that's about it. If you want world-class coaching, get in touch with me. Otherwise, just feel free to bother Maddie and Hamin as much as humanly possible.
I'm Hacker Hamin. Whatever. I'm going to go sell my hip and watch some anime. I don't even give a fuck anymore.
Patreon.com/TV.
Yeah, patreon.com/Hamin Media Group for the Hustler Rip Rogers podcast. If you want to hear real knowledge and, more ranting, that's the place to go. Some great stuff this week with Hustler, though, man. Really, that learning tree has just got so many branches, and great stuff with John Paz this week on Pro Wrestling 101. Sel, I might send you those. Did 2 shows with him on how to work big man style and, big men protect their size, and also on locker room etiquette. So joining that. And also thanks to Vince Russo for the run-in. Check out the new Better Call Con. We're going to get all those updates from the forbidden doors to the darkest holes that you can reach, man. So he's going to be watching Impact, and I'll send him all the greatest clips. But I'm glad you like the Beautiful People podcast coming on Valentine's Day to russosbrand.com, as well as we're working with April Hunter and Damian Sandow to launch the A Show. Patreon.com/the A Show/ Beautiful People is coming as well, too, you guys. So thanks for subscribing to everything we got going on here. Oversell, kick the arm out, do whatever you got to do, but don't get kicked out of the inner circle here at Hamin Media Group. Y'all.